Hello, welcome back to another SwansCast podcast. A very positive episode for you today, joined by Lee and Ben. So welcome back, both of you.
North Star.
Yeah, what a great week.
Great year.
Great 2025.
It
Lee,
can't
do me a
get
favour,
any worse.
move your mic a little bit away from your mouth, just a little bit. Say
Sorry.
something. That's
How
better.
about that?
That's better.
I was just too eager to jump in then.
Yeah, it's fine. Just it could have got worse. Everyone's eardrums could have been popping, but I don't really know what.
Please don't say that, Ben, that it can't get any worse.
I thought that after the results, but it just is spiraling, isn't it? It's absolutely spiraling at the moment. I don't understand how, from where we were at Christmas, we're in this situation that we are today in what, like a month and a week.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Like I have seen other teams, not for us, a capitulation like it. Like I just don't understand what's happened. There's clearly something going on behind the scenes, weird stuff. Don't know what that would be. Anything we say is just speculation at this point. But let's get into it, I guess. Let's just get straight in because there's going to be a lot to talk about. I don't want to waste any time. So the big news, or the elephant in the room, is clearly Matt Grimes leaving. Now, I'm sure any regular listeners to this podcast will know how fond we are of him as a player. We always stuck up for him against any criticism. We've always been the first to say how valuable he is to the team. And I think to some degree, everyone thought this day would come at some point until earlier this season where he signed a new contract. And we started believing that we'd got over the worst of Matt Grimes' speculation. I don't know. This just feels like a bit of a shock, the way that it's happened. It came out of nowhere as well, didn't it? And then all of a sudden it was like, yeah, it's happening. I think, what's your thoughts on this then, Ben?
Shock, anger, disappointment, worriedness. Just the way it came about. Obviously, the rumor came out. I publicly tweeted, "Nah, no chance," and then a few hours later, it was happening. Not one of my better predictions. That for a team, even though I did predict them to finish second at the start of the season, a team who sacked their manager this season, a team who are only 4 points above us in the league, despite our poor form over the last 5 weeks, to a team who haven't been in the Premier League recently, it just, makes no sense to me. He's our top earner. Yes, they'll give him more money, but he's turned down Fulham in the past. He's turned down Watford when they were on their way to the Prem in the past. Sheffield United flirted with the idea at one point when they were on their way back up to the Prem as well. I can't believe it. We did a pod 2 months ago and we were counting how many appearances it would take him to break the league record for us. We thought he'd be the Barry Bannon type midfielder who'd still be starting captain in our team when he's 36 years old because he never gets injured. And by all accounts, it looks like he's put in a firm transfer request and forced his way out the door. That led to him only speaking to 3 people at Fairwood when he left because people seem to just give him a cold shoulder. So a lot's gone on, not much of which we know about, just every negative emotion under the sun. I think that's what everyone's feeling right now.
Did he actually end in a transfer request that year that he didn't necessarily? It was just a case of Coventry knocked the door and he said, I want to speak to them.
No, from what I've read, he kind of forced his way out.
But I've seen that, but I've seen conflicting. I don't know what's true.
I guess he in some form, whether it was an official transfer request or not, I think he's asked to leave, isn't he? Because I think from what we've seen is they've put 2 bids in, which we rejected, and then after that, I think he said, like, look, I want to go.
2.5 years to deal. You don't just let somebody go who's relatively comfortable and happy if they got 2.5 years in the deal and they're that important. That's what winds me up more as well. The fact that there's no way in my eyes he wouldn't have continued trying his best and wearing the captain's armband. He's been here a decade and he's loved by everyone here. So, like, why we've been so soft? The only conceivable explanation for it is he has proper forced his way out, because unless he did that, there's no way we would have sold him, not for that money anyway. 3.5 mil.
Is that what it is? 3.5?
3.5 rising to 4, and it remains to be seen if Exeter still have a 10% sell on from back in the day. There's some people saying we've bought it back off them at some point. There's some people saying it still exists. So potentially you're looking more at 3.15 million rising to 3.6.
What's your thoughts, Lee?
Yeah, it's just a proper gut punch, isn't it, for like the fans? Because I didn't think this would ever happen. Not just in this window. I didn't think Grimes would ever go. I thought he was just going to see out his career. I think that was a given for most Swans fans. So like Ben, when the rumour came out, I was in work and I remember seeing it, Coventry interested in Grimes. I instantly dismissed it. Just thought, well, it's just a load of rubbish. He's not going anywhere now. And then as it picked up pace, I just think I can't fathom why this is happening. There's obviously, we'll get into speculation, but there's obviously something that's happened, because this is just totally out of the blue for fans by the look of it. The club seem a bit blindsided by it. You know, your club captain, who's just signed a new contract in August, plays every game, you know, all the things that he said, loves the city, you know, gives his all for the shirt, to then hand in a transfer request, like, literally out of nowhere, is just a massive, like, you know, shock to everyone, really. So I don't really know where I stand on it at the minute. I think the initial reaction seemed to be that, like, everybody was angry with the board and the club, but now I think, like, the dust has settled a little bit, and now it's like confirmed that he is going. I think more is coming out that it was more Grimes forcing his way out, which I just never saw happening, and I don't know why. But it's just,
it still looks bad on the board. You don't sign a 2.5-year deal and then just get to say, "Oh, I'm leaving," and then it's like, "Oh, okay, let's leave you go." You got to call his bluff a bit and know that he would have continued to try. Like, at this stage in the window, not just any window, January, we're going to be selling him on deadline day when it's confirmed, leaving ourselves with probably at best what appears to be a loan signing as his like-for-like replacement currently, which can go one of two ways. Usually it goes south. You're just asking for relegation on you. Like, and it's mental. I'm not saying I ever thought we'd actually be in a top 6 battle, but a lot of people were saying that 6 weeks ago. So for it now to swing so suddenly towards, you know, this negative form, and that was with Grimes. We've been in the Championship, 7 years? Every single team, Potter, Cooper, Martin, Williams, has been built around Grimes. We don't know what a Swansea City without Matt Grimes looks like. So scary, I think, is the word.
Yeah, the statement from the club just says Swansea City has accepted a bid from a Championship club for the transfer of Matt Grimes. Following discussions, Matt Grimes expressed his desire to move on, and the club has respected his wishes. So that's all they've said. They didn't even name the club, but we all know it's Coventry. Yeah, I don't know what to say, really. It's just a bit of a weird one. I kind of one day expected him to go into bigger and better things, but I mean, Coventry have got a lot more money. They probably a bit of a project that's further along than ours, really. They've had a bad season, I know, but I think on paper, you'd probably say they've got a better squad to have a crack, even if it's next year, whatever. I think they're going in the right direction now. People like to talk about Frank Lampard in a bad way, but he seems to be doing a decent job. I don't know whether his influence there had an impact. Like, is that a player, a manager, a player wants to go and play for? I don't know.
You might get some cool stories from back in the day at Chelsea. It will not be funny. This isn't the 21-year-old centre mid. As he's 29, he's at his prime, if not past it already. He's never going to be the box-to-box goal-scoring midfielder Frank Lampard was. I don't exactly think Lampard's going to put much of his game onto Grimes. Grimes is the finished article. So in terms of, it's probably pay, it's probably a better chance of promotion. I just never expected him to do it under these circumstances so late into the window.
What do you think?
Mid-season.
It's like, I need to go now, I'm never going to go, or something like that.
Why not go for Fulham 3 years ago then? They were in the automatics ready to go up.
Maybe he really believed in Russell Martin's game.
It makes no sense because it makes no sense. Because what's his ambition? Like you said, he's 29. If he wanted to go on to bigger, better things and push it, then fair enough. Like if he was going to a Burnley or Sheffield United or Sunderland, maybe, then, you know, it still would have been out of the blue. But this makes no sense. It's no like disrespect to Coventry. Maybe they're probably a little bit ahead of us in terms of development, but we've been on an absolute whirlwind of like downturn in form, and they're only 4 points above us. Now I can't see them, you know, turning that. Well, in 2 years, Grimes will be 31, going on to 32. Are they going to really realistically push for the top end of the Championship? Maybe, but that just seems really odd to me.
New contract in the summer, new child starting school, tier a decade. Why now?
All this, why now? All this says to me is like something has happened behind the scenes for them. For him to want to leave, and 2, for the club to let him go. Something's happened. I don't know what, but that's what it says to me. And the reactions we've heard, you said about like only 3 people have said goodbye to him, and like Luke Williams said in his press conference, that not one player in the squad has played a game for the club without Matt Grimes. So it's not something, it's not something that's happened over time, because obviously he's been here for so long. It's something that's happened in this recent run of bad form that's led to this happening.
I mean, was it 3 of the last 5 seasons in the Championship? He's completed 90 minutes in all 46 league games as an outfield player. Forget fitness. The fact he hasn't got injured in that time is just a miracle. It's just, I don't know. We're saying things we all already know. It's just the lack of clarity on the situation now, the lack of time and possibly resources to fill the gap. An already weak squad has become weaker. It's
yeah. Luke Williams was speaking about it. He said they have a contingency plan for him. He didn't really elaborate on what that means. There's not many days left to do it. When's it close? Monday transfer deadline?
Tomorrow, no?
I thought that,
Monday,
but apparently it's Monday.
Yeah, it's Monday.
Which I was surprised at. So
It's
we've
what?
it's 2nd of Feb, I think.
Monday's the 3rd.
3rd then.
3rd
It's
of Feb.
Monday. Apparently it's Monday. That's what I've been.
Oh, do you know what it probably is? I think, didn't they introduce something to stop it clashing with fixtures? Because having football games on the same day as deadline day is just stupid. Probably what it is. All right, well, that gives us a bit more time. I thought it was tomorrow, I can't lie. As it always is, it normally is the 31st, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so a bit more time, but still like a massive job. What do you think? I want to know what might have happened behind the scenes to kind of cause this, and I know we're never going to find out, but trying to put the pieces together, just don't get it. Do you think it's linked to everything that's happened in the last month? Like,
couldn't have helped, could it? It could be a thing of, like you say, he maybe regrets not going for Fulham. He maybe regrets not going for Watford when he could. He probably knows deep down we're not going up to the Premier League anytime soon on the track we're currently heading on. So Coventry is probably his best and last chance at doing so. I'm just surprised it was that important to him, if I'm honest. I think at this point in time, I'm not buying the whole thing of his last big contract. His last big contract was in the summer, or should have been anyway. Yes, the money would have helped his decision, but I don't think that there's not going to be a massive disparity between our wage and Coventry's wage, is my point. This is very much
Luke Williams came and spoke about that as well, and he said that there was conversations, what did he say, tentative conversations are trying to convince him to stay, but as soon as Swansea realised what Coventry were willing to offer him, they essentially were just like, yeah, we can't match that.
I'm not saying we would have got close in terms of the money, but if we offered him 20, he's probably getting like 30 at Coventry. They're not going to be paying any more than that for a 29-year-old centre mid at this level, I think his basis for this decision would have primarily been football. I think he's earned his money by now, for being honest, hasn't he? He's had a good few contracts. He's set for life with the amount of money he would have earned. Yes, this will set him up even more. But for me, this is probably just the chance to get to the Prem. It would be ironic now if we get there before them. I don't know. I'm trying to find any. Probably not. We've got more chance of League One, haven't we?
Yeah. Okay. So how do we replace him then? What's next? Like,
well, if you want to talk transfers,
maybe let's not get to transfers yet. Then I got a question that we should talk about before that. Do you think you play on Saturday?
No, I just did a Coventry pod and they said he's not.
Yeah,
it would be so odd. Can you imagine, like, going from us never thinking that was going to happen to then the next game him playing against us at home?
Yeah, he's not even going to be in Swansea. From what I just got told, he's going to be settling in Coventry. He's probably not even going to travel. Let's say travel down. He's here.
Probably rightly so.
Yeah.
Well, the Coventry pod I was on, I was like, oh, maybe he'll be on the bench so we can go and walk around and clap as a goodbye. I was like, I don't know if that's going to go well.
Well, this is the next thing. Like, does this like how do we feel about it? Does he leave still, like, because obviously the way we were talking about him when we went on the tangent a couple of videos ago, we were sort of saying on the lines of club legend. For me, that's out the window. I think that's out the window.
It's tainted. No, you can't.
That's gone.
You can't force your way out of a club and be remembered a club legend, can you?
I just think we need the clarity. We need the clarity over what happened before we can really answer that question.
No,
whether
but
we ever get that or not, I don't know. But
no, like, but with based on the facts that we've got at the moment, he's asked. Well, no, he's asked to leave the club. That's a fact. He's wanted to leave the club. That's
Yeah.
fact. So with that, and it appears, obviously, like you said, we won't know. It appears that the club were surprised by it as well, that nobody saw it coming. I just think what a shit move. Excuse my language, but that's just what a shit
I mean,
move.
if that's the way it went down, then yeah, fair enough.
Usually the players know about these things a few weeks in advance secretly, don't they?
Well, the thing is, the fact that we didn't think this was going to happen at all. Nobody in the footballing world thought this was going to happen. It's caught everybody by surprise. But the fact that Coventry have come in confidently with 2 bids, thinking that they can pry him out, then conversations have been had, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've obviously
It's
think there's a
usually the way.
chance.
If his agents go and searching for a club, surely there's another club that would have paid 4 million for him or whatever it is.
I said this, and I started a Championship fan civil war on Twitter. Most of the people in the replies making decent points. Don't get me wrong, the strength of midfields in the top 6 primarily are pretty good. The one I keep pointing out, Sheffield United, because they never really replaced Ollie Norwood. Someone came back at me and said we don't play like that in midfield anymore, which is fair enough. I'm just agreeing with you in that a team, maybe apart from West Brom in the top 6, are going to have money. And if they're going for promotion, they hardly care about the resale value of a midfielder paying a few £1 million for, do they? And even if they can't sell him, he's a sort of midfielder. He'll still be playing at a high level when he's 33 because of the way he plays. So yeah, it surprised me, to be completely honest. Sheffield United would be in one. Sunderland's midfield is ridiculous, so maybe not so much them. But Borough would have offered something different just because I think they've got an injury at the minute. So I saw a Borough fan saying they could have done with him, for example. Leeds would never have happened because of the loan spell ages ago. They hate him, and that memory of him will be tainted still. But yeah, even foreign clubs, like maybe it's just teams slow to react, or maybe wouldn't have been interested in that with as young kids. I don't know, but the fact that Coventry are the only team who came in at that price has stunned me.
Yeah, I know you said the price. I think 4 million's a steal. The matter, like, there's so many clubs in the Championship that could pay 4 million. Forget resale value. This isn't paying 4 million for someone you don't know can do a job at this level. You don't know is going to turn into a good player. Like, how much did we pay for Bianchini?
2, I think.
2.
Right, there we are. There we are. So you're paying 2 Bianchinis to get a 300 appearance, like, Championship player who haven't got injured for the last 6 years.
Well, we were rejecting 6 million from 2 years ago.
It's top of the passing charts, like, year in, year out. Not week in, week out. Year in, year out.
Did you see the graphic of his stats compared to the rest of the league? I tried to find it, I couldn't find it. They showed it to me on the Coventry pod. I just did. It was like most touches, most carries, most progressive passes, most
this season.
Yeah, in the league now. Anything to do with passing or dribbling, he was just top in the entire league. It was
and they're getting him for 4 million. Like, well, not even that. Like, that's what baffles me. I don't understand the valuation we put on some of our players. I don't get it. Like, why is that fine? Why are we happy with that? Okay, if he wants to go, but have an honest conversation with him and say, you can go, but they got to pay this for you. Like,
and they overpay for everyone. How much did they spend on Hadji Wright and Ellis Sims? It was like 8 million on Sims. They spent like
how much did they get for Gyökeres a couple of years ago, whenever it was, right?
And
they've had money coming into that club. Like, just say to them, you can have him, but you need to give us 8 mil, whatever you're asking for. I don't know.
It was like 8 mil for Sims. I think they spent, it was something stupid, like 8 mil again for Hadji Wright. Like you said, they got 20 odd for Gyökeres. I think they got near 20 for Gustavo Hamer when he went Sheffield United. They just got so much.
Can I just say as well, Jake Bidwell and Joel Latabodia are still starting for Coventry. They're going to get Matt Grimes. And it's like, Bidwell wasn't good enough for Russell Martin. Latabodia wasn't good enough for anyone, apparently. They love him in Coventry, Latabodia.
He captained them, didn't he?
Yeah.
I know, playing devil's advocate a little bit, though. Like, the club know this. Like, we know all of this. So they definitely know that. I mean, like, the Swans now, the club know that. So I just got to believe that he had to get out of the door. And they've been forced into a deal, because they're not that daft, are they, to be like, oh, we'll just take 4 million. That's good.
Well, I don't know. Connor Roberts was quite low from my view. And what was Joe Roden as well?
11 rising to 15 for Roden. That was Trevor Birch. He left and took Roden with him. He knew he strong-armed us. He knew that. Roberts, on the other hand, we couldn't afford to match any wage demands or increase his salaries. We pushed him out the door in January to not let him go on a free. He wanted to stay, and we never put a new deal on the table for him. That was Connor
Did
Roberts'
Roberts go in
story.
January?
Yeah.
No, that's why he went in the summer.
No, January to Burnley. I'll look it up just to fact check it. But
He went in the summer, didn't he? He had a year left on his deal.
I thought it was 6 months, and they signed him for $2.5 million. I'll have a look now. Apologies if I'm wrong.
I remember it being $2.5 million. I remember that.
August the 31st, 2021.
Was it actually?
Yeah.
Oh, I could have sworn it was January.
I think
low.
low.
I know he had a year left, but like $2.5 million, it was low. It was very low. Again, put into perspective, how much did we play for Bianchini?
Yeah, I mean, we are going back to 2021. So
no, but it seems that we are selling players that show they can do it at this level, that come through our system, do a really good job, highly rated, capped, maybe not Matt Grimes, but sometimes, for really good prices, and then we're taking risks on players then for similar values. I just don't get it.
We're crap at negotiating. I think in terms of buying players, the market's, inflated a little bit. In terms of selling players, Dan James, we got more than he was worth because he had a year in his deal. McBurney, we got more than he was worth. You wouldn't get 20 million for a championship striker now.
Yeah, but that's before. I'm on about since then.
No, I know. I'm getting to that. I'm saying that was when Trevor Birch was here. Somebody who was like a master negotiator. Since then, we've had people who don't know what they're doing, to put it bluntly. It's a rudderless ship right now. With it's like top heavy in terms of people in like around the table positions doing made up jobs. Like we don't actually know what we do. And then we're missing like head of recruitment and sporting directors and a chairman.
Yeah, and they're not even taking people on, are they? They've gone a different direction or something now, haven't they? With that, like
I don't know what's happening with it.
I know. I you're probably right, and I'm not like giving them a get out of jail free card, but there's got to be a reason. Because even if Luke Williams would have been there being like, this is our club captain, they're not that. They haven't got their fingers that much off the pulse of they could just be like, oh yeah, we'll just take $4 million for this player. Like there's just I just got to believe there's a reason for it.
Did Williams seem annoyed in his press conference?
I don't know.
I don't know really. Maybe a little bit.
Always did.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, this is just a bit me like simplifying the situation a lot. Don't get me wrong. Coventry put a bid in. You say no. Grimes gets wind of it, says I want to leave. You just say you're too important. It's January. It's the end of the window. No. End of. He's not for sale. Why isn't? There's got to be more to it because that should have just been as simple as it went, right?
Should have been. I don't get it. I'm just stunned, I guess.
Exactly. There's got to be more to it. That's what I'm saying.
Is Luke Williams the problem? Like, is he the problem?
That's what I said initially. My first thought was, this isn't real. This is just Grimes trying to get Williams gone. But then everyone keeps saying they have a brilliant working relationship and respect each other. So maybe that's not it.
That was my initial thought, was that he was... I thought, we'll probably sack Williams here and he'll stay because he's been here, when Duff was here and he was under a lot of pressure and previous managers have come and gone and he's been a constant. So I thought maybe that's what it was. Maybe he was just kind of forcing Williams out, but now after a couple of days, it doesn't look like that's the case. It's really strange. I don't know. We can probably speculate a little bit now, but one option is that maybe Grimes has said it's me or the manager, and they've said, well, we're back in Williams, and he's gone. I don't know. But like you said, apparently they got a good working relationship. So
I also just can't see them choosing Williams over Grimes. I can't lie.
No.
Not when he had supposedly a few games to save his job or whatever.
Luke Williams referring to it as an extremely good business all round. It's a very good deal for us. It's fantastic for them because he's a great player. So it's a fair deal all round. Don't know if I agree with that.
Oh, Christ, Luke, you keep saying the wrong thing.
In the circumstances.
I understand the need to try and create any sort of positive.
Just for clarity, you're on about Luke Williams then, on me.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Sorry, that was my bad.
I was just like, what have I said?
No. Yeah, I understand the need to make any sort of positivity possible because we're in such a doom and gloom spell at the minute. But read the room. Nobody's believing that. I'm sorry. There's no way you can spin Matt Grimes leaving out of nowhere to a club in the same position as us in the table for pittance without an adequate replacement probably on the way is a good thing. It's just all negative.
Okay, so let's talk about his replacement. BBC are reporting that we were interested in that Peterborough lad you mentioned. Say his name again. I can't say it.
Hector
Cipriano.
Cipriano. Cypriot.
Okay. Yeah. So in Peterborough, so was he 23, I think?
Yeah.
Very similar sort of player. When I was just on the Coventry podcast, they were telling me they've already looked at him or been looking at him before. They've also got Grimes instead now. He's got age on his side. I don't know enough about him to know, if can he come in and replace him and do the same job? I don't know.
He's their captain supposedly, so they probably rate him. I'd never heard of him. Is the truth of it.
BBC are reporting this, so clearly there's an interest there. Whether we see that over the line or not is another question. You seem skeptical.
Vital Swansea said this is true, but you feel it's one that's just too late to try and get it done. The loan market's most likely to be relied upon. And my initial reaction was, it's Peterborough. We've been down this road before with Peterborough at the end of the window. So have many other clubs. They just double or triple the price of especially because it's a key player. We tried it with was it Edwards? His name, the centre back, ended up at Southampton. Tried getting him in to replace Wood if he went to Southampton when I think it was last January possibly, and they were asking like 10 million for him or something stupid. They've rejected bids for Tony on deadline day before, but I think they were asking 10 million for him at the time. Harrison Burrows, they've done it with Sammy Schmodix as well. They don't sell at the deadline day because they know they have good players, ones who can fit in with progressive styles of play. So they just ask too much for them and they keep them. They actually have a backbone, unlike us in the transfer market, unfortunately.
Yeah, which is the way to go, isn't it?
Apparently he's out of contract in the summer, though. Does that change anything?
How old is he? He can't even speak to foreign clubs. I don't know why I'm asking that, but or domestic clubs, sorry. But yeah, probably not, because Joe Lowe, remember him 6 months on his deal, and we were trying for him and offering 600k. We ended up with that lad on loan from Burnley, didn't we? So I don't know where we suddenly found this money from. We're signing that Danish guy we'll get to in a second as well.
How much is he?
The Danish guy, 2.4 mil. But of course, even though
this is what I mean about risking for these foreign players. I'm not saying he's not a good player, but Grimes has been there and done it, and he's not even doubled that price. That's what's crazy to me.
Yeah.
How do you get value in the league? I don't get it. I just don't get it. How can he be worth 2.4 million? Yeah, okay, he's a highly rated youngster, but in what league does he play in?
Sweden. No, sorry, he's Swedish, but he plays in the Danish league for Aalborg.
Yeah, which, no disrespect to that league, but I just don't understand. It just baffles me. I don't get the valuations of these players. I'm not saying he's wrongly priced at 2.4 million, but Grimes is 3.5. That's crazy.
For what it's worth, Widdell's really well rated. Foreseeable, whose Swans stats account said him, Franco, and if we got that Cipriano, will be a really well balanced midfield three, good blend of physicality, aggression, dynamism, box crashing, ball carrying, and variance in passing styles. A lot of big words and fancy terms there, but a well balanced midfield three. Yeah.
If they do all come in though, at what point do we start running out of homegrown player quota?
We're well above that. I think the homegrown thing's more of an issue in the Prem. The issue is how many people from abroad were allowed. It's 4 per season unless they qualify for that type of visa or whatever. I'm not sure what number are actually on now. I think Franco wasn't one, Ronald wasn't one, but Amji Sung, I'm pretty sure, was. Kuharevich, I'm not sure if he was or not. He played in Scotland, that might have helped. Trying to think who else. Now, there are a few missing on my.
You still got to have a certain amount of homegrown players in the championship, though.
Yeah, and then 7 or 13. We got how many? We got professional deals and never actually graced the pitch. They count as well. I think we're well above the number.
I thought you have to in your 25-man registered squad. I thought you needed to have a certain amount.
Probably, but I
know it's not quite there. But I just feel like, when was the last time we're not really bringing in? Not that I have an issue with it. Just in regards to the rules, we don't seem to be going after many domestic players at the moment.
Probably because they're overpriced.
And that might be the case, but I'm saying there's a limit to this strategy. We'll get to the peak at some point where you can't anymore, is what I'm saying.
I think we're just well off the peak, is what I'm saying. If you think back to our Premier League squad, there was barely any homegrown in there, and we still met the quota. I don't know what the rule is, but I know it's
I think
it's
8
probably
was in the
not as.
Prem.
I don't think it's as high as what you think it is all I'm saying.
4 at club and 4 in country. That's what the Prem is. I don't know what it is in Championship.
It's probably the same, isn't it?
Maybe. So, like, you needed 8. 4 at club and then 8 for country. But obviously, your 4 club always counted within that. So,
but yeah, I really don't think that's going to be an issue, if I'm honest, in terms of homegrown status. I think we've got plenty.
Fair enough.
And
I just wasn't sure. Maybe
I think
I don't think so.
I think there's just a limit on how many from abroad we can bring in without the visa anyway. And right now we've got pretty much no intelligence or a scouting team, even though we've been talking about years for how we're going to use data and bring people in, and it's always just chop and change, and there never seems to be any continuity with it. So I'm assuming this name is somebody we've been tracking for a while. This isn't someone we would have just found now. It's an old name that we've decided to pull the trigger on. It seems the reason we've decided to pull the trigger on is we think if we wait till the summer, we'd miss out on him.
Is this Melka now, yeah?
Say again.
You're on about Melka now.
Am I mixing him and with?
I'm just clarifying.
Yeah, Melka. Yeah, I thought Melka was a different person. Sorry, then yeah, Woodell. I'm on about Melka Woodell.
All right, sorry.
Yeah, loaning him back is the point, which nobody wants, but that's apparently the only way that they'd sanction a deal in January unless you pay stupid money for him. So
yeah, just to clarify then, because I think we mixed 2 stories up a little bit there. We have, as it been announced, we're going to be signing Melka Woodell from where is it from? Aalborg.
Yeah, it's not confirmed, but it's likely from what we've read.
Apparently he was here, wasn't he, having a medical or something?
Oh, no clue.
I've heard that he's here, going to get everything sorted, and then he's going back, is what I've heard. Because obviously we're loaning him back, yeah. Do you know why we're loaning him back?
Yeah, because that was the only way Aalborg would sanction the deal, unless you paid like stupid money for him. A few clubs in Europe want him apparently, but we're the only ones willing to do that and pay that price. So if he comes in the summer and we're still in the Championship and he ends up being class, he's only young, it'll look brilliant. But if we're in League One, it'll look rather silly because we'll probably be selling him straight away because he's too good for the league.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, it looks like Swans Independent seem to be saying Coleman's done a good job here. So I'll have a read into this later on. I can't do it now while we're on the podcast. It's quite long. But maybe it is like people see on paper it's a loan thing, and it's easy to say, well, we need players now, so it's difficult to understand. But maybe it was just a case of, well, don't get him otherwise. And
yeah, I think
time will tell if it's been worth it, I guess.
I think the Grimes thing again has probably caught everybody by surprise. So people are thinking, "Oh, well, why are you signing someone and loaning them back after this?" But maybe it's just something that they were cooking up already before that happened.
So the season does finish on March. It finishes March the 16th, but after March there's a playoff.
Depends whether.
Yeah, it's like the Scottish league, I think.
But the entire league is in the playoff.
Yeah, it's like the Scottish league where it splits. Yeah.
And Wales. There's only 12 teams in that league, and they're 9th right now. So yeah, like you say, 7th through 12th would compete to be like top of the B League or whatever they do, and then they probably go to Europe qualifiers.
Yeah, but it does say they thought that he would come back after this, but this being confirmed that he won't be. He will be back in the summer.
Right. Well, let's hope we're still in the Championship then. Risk on his part. I know he guarantees the money because they probably don't pay much in Denmark at that level, but you could be signing for a League One club then, mate. That's a interesting choice.
I mean, it's done now, isn't it? If it's done, it's done. I mean, it depends what we're paying him wages-wise, but probably not that great, I wouldn't have thought, for that sort of signing. But
going to be a relegation clause in there as well. Is that the most expensive signing we've made since a good few years now?
I'd say it's 2.4.
Yeah, I mean, Bianchini was a little bit less, I
What
believe.
was Kuherovic?
Less, not by much, but yeah, I think
Someone
Bianchini was rising to 2.3. Kuherovic
was Franco?
To 2. That's still unconfirmed. Some people say it's more. I think Vital Swansea said it's more like 1 and a little bit with add-ons. Some people say it's a bit more. I think 2.4 less. 900k rising to 1.1. I think.
I thought there was someone recently for 3-ish, but I can't remember, to be honest.
I think it's going back a while. Downs was 1.5. rising to 2. Perot was 1, rising to 2. Obafemi was 1.5. Yeah, I think that could be it for a little while, honestly. You're locking now, you?
Yeah.
Hear the keyboard going.
Anyway, so if there's any other names linked to replacing Grimes, I know you kind of went off on a tangent about some of the signings there. So
yeah, Bobby Clark on loan has been linked. 19-year-old was at Liverpool, transferred to Salzburg in summer just gone.
Is that a replacement though? That
Yeah.
sounds.
Yeah, I mean,
is he good? He's good enough. I don't know enough about him.
Signed for RB Salzburg from Liverpool for 11 mil. Played 6 games in the Champions League this year. So I would say, yeah, probably. Don't know how similar he is to Grimes. He's in that same position, obviously inexperienced at 19. Christ, I know I'm young, but I do feel old reading February 7th, 2005. Professional footballer. Playing in the Champions League. Yeah,
Jerry
obviously
Yates was 2.8.
Ah, there's the
Sorry.
one. Yeah, good call. No,
that's
you're
euros.
right.
That's euros. Whatever that is in pounds.
Yes, but yeah, probably about 2.4 to be honest. So yeah, that was the one. No, you're right. There was one. He'll be back in the summer. Forgot about him. But yeah, that's pretty much it. There will be more options out there. I'm sure we're exploring. It's going to be a scramble, as Lee said earlier. There's no way we were prepared for this. I refuse to believe we were. If we were drawing up lists for targets this summer, they were in centre back, at left back, probably.
Yeah.
At Cam, maybe up front. There's no way we were looking who would replace Matt Grimes if he leaves. That's the worry. We're focusing on Grimes now. We needed a left back in to help Timon out, I think, honestly. And we're never linked with one.
Okay, but in the scenario we don't replace Grimes, who replaces him internally? That's a massive issue for me. Like, you've got Felton and Franco, and then Joe Allen's there sometimes.
I think you talk about the loan there of Clark. I think that's like it's like an emergency loan almost, isn't it? That they weren't expecting, so they got to try and bring a body in just to like replace him because it's one they weren't expecting to replace. But in terms of who actually replaces that role, I don't think anyone. So I think the question is, are we going to have to change the way we play slightly? I mean, you could make that case anyway if Grimes was staying with the form we're in. Because nobody's really going to do that job, are they? No one's going to do the job that Grimes does. So I think we're probably going to see a different, maybe slightly different midfield. I don't know.
I mean, Felton Franco as a pivot's the most likely, isn't it? Hilarious Abdullahi's gone to Leyton Orient now, by the way. That's happened in between the last
Can we not
pod.
talk about him because that's just
yeah, no, we have to talk about him. He had man of the match on his debut, then had man of the match on the game after, where he had a hat trick and an assist in a 5-2.
And he's playing on the wing as well, which I thought wouldn't be the case, but I just
all their fans are saying he looks like Bellingham the way he's playing, and that's not what he looks like.
We compared him to Bellingham on you, not like for like, of course, but in terms of the way that he can play. We have mentioned that on this podcast earlier this season. We said, though, we thought he wasn't being allowed to play that way by being on the wing. So we thought we'd see more of that if he got put in the middle. And we never saw that. And that was our excuse, I guess. But now he's clearly... I said early season, I know Lee was saying, and I know you still feel this way to an extent, Lee, like the front players in our team right now are not good enough. No. My stance on it was not necessarily disagreeing what you're saying, but I said that I thought the way that Luke Williams was setting them up and his attacking tactics, I thought were not allowing them to play well, essentially in an attacking, creative format. And I think Abdullahi just makes me feel that I hit the nail on the head a little bit because everyone hated him on the wing. I don't think anyone really disliked him as a person or player, other than the stuff that apparently went on behind the scenes. But I'm not talking about that. Like, no one really said get him out, like he's rubbish. Everyone was like he's playing out of position and we don't want to see him there. But the fact that he just couldn't do nothing on the wing for us, and I know it's a lower level, but Leyton Orient are doing quite well in the league, and they could off the back of that, he could be back in the Championship. So I just find it interesting that he's gone and made such an instant impact. It wasn't like a one-off on your debut either. The second game was better, and they were loving him at the moment. So just interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I honestly don't get the Abdullahi one. I thought he had quite a harsh deal. I think I saw a lot of fans saying that he was just useless. I think I saw quite a lot of that. But again, like we said, I think he was just playing in the wrong position. But I was really shocked because when I saw he was going to Leighton Orient, I thought it was a loan until like 3 days after it happened when I realised it was a permanent, and I just couldn't get my head around it. I don't understand why we sold him because there was definitely potential there. Like we just saw that he was playing out of position, and sometimes, or not all the time, I thought sometimes when he came on the wing, he did all right. Like some games, he did fine
I think
playing out of
he
position.
I
Not
think it
all
was something
games, but
happened behind the scenes, which is the main reason he's gone.
yeah, no, I get that, but it just come as a bit of a surprise. And now
Yeah.
with Grimes going, there might have been more of an opportunity for him to play in the middle.
Yeah, I wonder if that would have happened if Grimes had gone. Had gone sooner. I wonder if they would still happen. Me and Ben kind of talked about it when we were talking about Joe Lowe a few weeks ago, and there was something about a swap deal that obviously never materialized. We were wondering who would go the other way. I know it's a different club, but I think he was the one that we said probably made the most sense.
Yeah.
So
I half meant it. I didn't actually think we were then going to sell him to Leighton Orient. But
for me, like, I think there was some talk in December that there would have to be people leaving to have players coming in. He was the one that I was probably in my head was like, he's probably one of the ones that is on the chopping block if someone's got to go. So I'm not really shocked in that regard. I would have liked to have seen him develop you a bit more and be tried a bit more. But back on my point just now, I know you've got a lot to say about Ronald's form over recent times. But if you remember back to when he first came and what he's like now, I just wonder if that's like coached out of him a bit, like what he's shown in that when he was the first month or two, when he was really good all the time and he looked exciting and like he was going to be some player, and then it kind of went, and now he shows it sometimes. I'm just wondering, like this Abdullah case now, he's gone and he can just play. Are we too focused on like safe ball all the time? When they get in them areas, they're like, oh, I can't take him on, so I'm going to pass it back. And then it's coached out of them to be like instinctual attacking wise. Like the goals that Abdullah was scoring, and like we didn't see that sort of thing from him. The way he's running through like that.
Mainly because Leighton Orient were moving the ball quick and getting forward quickly.
Yeah, so I'm just
getting bodies in the box for cutbacks, which isn't something that we do now. When we cross the ball, they're usually probably blasted across goal at height, which no one can get their head on. I agree with you, though. I do agree with you.
So that's my point. Is the tactics like not using the players, I guess.
When we get to the final third, we sort of wait for the defence to organise and then pass around the edge of the box until we dink one in, and the centre back usually heads it away. It's considering the pace that we've got out wide from the fullbacks. I know Ronald and are questionable, but Timon and Key, as far as championship fullbacks go, they're probably the best we're going to get in terms of, especially Timon crossing ability. Key not so much, but he gets into the good areas. So just through pure volume of having the ball, it should work out from time to time. But you don't see them doing it much anymore. I think Timon used to overlap non-stop. How often do you see Timon overlap in the final third and crossing the ball now? It's not frequent enough, is it?
I just don't really get. I'm not saying Lee's wrong. He might be spot on with his assessment of those wingers and the forward players, right? Kurt Harris, I think, is the one that does sometimes offer something different, but he doesn't always. Sometimes he goes missing as well. But he's really good, like in the Sheffield United game. And I just don't understand. I'm just wondering if we're being a bit like, it's easy to say these players are not good enough, but when we are actually playing in forward areas, the way that we play, you're just always putting them up against a brick wall, like, and expecting them to do something. And confidence is a big factor in that. And I'm just wondering, have we just coached that out of them, the like wing, the excitement out of their game, if you like. I think even Eom, since he came in to now, he's not the same as he was. He looked like a bit of a raw talent when he first came in, and I was saying I thought you had more of a higher ceiling than Ronald. But then thinking back, I think Ronald had already been subject to this coaching out business, and what I was seeing in comparison at that time was easy to say he's more exciting than him. Now, if I look at them together now, it's the same sort of journey from Eom as what Ronald had. Come in a bit exciting. Now he's not so much doing that all the time. I think Ronald recently has there's been a few games where he has, like I think Sheffield again, he played quite well, but you don't see it enough where he just runs at people or takes it by the scruff of the neck and like tries taking people on. And it's as if, like, is he being told not to do that so much? I don't know. Just a question, really, of what I'm thinking.
No, I can't. Yeah. Well, you know my thoughts on it. I've been quite open on it, but I can't see them coaching it out of them because we've seen Ronald and our wingers be attacking under Williams. Like if you look back to like last year, where like Lowe was kind of making some of those like mazy runs down the wing, and I think like Pete Harris does it quite well. I think he does it better than Ronald and Eom. I think Pete Harris is our most effective winger at the minute, and he's not a winger. With Ronald and Eom, I mean, even at the beginning of the season when I was critical of them, Eom seems to be that type of player, I should say, where he looks like he's doing something, but he's actually not. He just looks busy. And between the two of them, I can't remember the stats exactly, but the goals and assists between them of two wingers who were supposedly creative wingers, neither of them can put a cross in the box. Whether they've been told not to attack or not, when they try to put a cross in the box or to beat their fullback, they cannot do it. And that's why I think they're just not good enough at the moment. I'm not saying like they're useless and get rid of them, nothing like that. I'm just saying with the amount, I know like we're saying about like our possession football, and that's another question whether that needs to change. But if you give any winger in this league, or even in League One for that matter, 20 times one-on-one with his fullback, he's got to be able to deliver 5 crosses in the box or beat him twice in a game. And Ronald does none of that. Neither does they cannot beat a man.
I will defend Ronald a little bit. He is our top assister.
With how many?
6. I'm on the other hand as 0 goals and 1 assist in 20 games. And I'm not asking the fan base.
Pete Harris has got 3 assists.
Yeah, I'm not asking the fan base to criticize a player, particularly one that's coming in, learning a new language, adapting to a new culture and a new intensity in the league. But 1 goal contribution in 20 games, and all he has to do is win and like not even a 50-50, just get to a ball first or a throw in, and the crowd start chanting his name. I'm like, he is protected a little bit, and I do think I sort of agree with Lee in that he's got a lot of flair about him and a lot of potential. But I feel like because he looks like he's doing something on the ball when he isn't actually delivering, we probably rate him a bit higher than maybe.
I don't want to be at all. Like I'm not disagreeing. I'm asking a bigger question, really, of just like, is it the player that's not good enough? Or is it the system they're playing in not really working for them? And maybe it's a bit of both.
Yeah, and we are one-dimensional. We are. And I feel like you'll struggle now this season, apart from Cullen, maybe, to name a player who is like better than they were last season, for me anyway. Darling, maybe. Like, I don't know.
And I'm not trying to be like, I'm coming from a different angle. I'm not trying to be like, oh, Ronald and are like awful players. I don't mean it like they're not good enough. That's not really what I'm saying. It's just that at this level, they are like mid-table players, aren't they? For us to be like a top 6 team, they'd have to be so much better. And we are where we are because that's their level. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the
I know you. I do get what you're trying to say, but I do think there's something in what I'm saying in regards to the way we're playing, and I think Abdullah is just showing that, to be honest. And I just think it's a case of like we're going up against teams, we keep the ball, we let them get into a defensive shape, and they're not players that can. But it's not even just one-on-ones, is it? Half the time, there's more people defending out wide, and they got the overlap from the fullback. But I just don't know. I just don't know where I am with it. And I don't know if they're probably not league-winning wingers. I'm not saying they are, but I don't know if we're helping them to help us.
No, I know what you're saying, but like Eom against Cardiff, I mean, was awful. He hasn't played since. He hasn't played since. I just think, I don't know. I don't understand that. It is frustrating, but where we're being asked to play possession football, we're doing that. Again, like if a winger gets the ball that much one-on-one with his fullback.
Yeah. Ronald's the main one, because when he came in, I know it's like, we hadn't seen a winger in ages, but people were doubling up on him, and he was still beating 2 men. Now he gets doubled up on. He can't make it past the first one.
A little bit more from him, Sheffield United. I think
he did well the last game.
I will say that the Sheffield United game was the best he played all season, especially after the red card. I thought he was really good when we went.
He did well in that game, but we got to talk about the season as a whole. I think if he repeats the Sheffield United performance, is brilliant. I'm just saying, I agree with you. when he came in, he looked a world beater. We were like, oh,
Yeah,
we'll get 8 million for him next summer. Teams were scared of him. The delivery wasn't always there, but it didn't need to be because he was getting doubled up on. He was still getting down the line. He was creating space for others, and for the most part, we were somewhat utilising it. Now he looks slower. Like you say, it's like he's afraid to take anyone on. It could be a confidence thing. It could be the way he's been coached, like you say. I'm less so of that opinion because I don't think we saw from him immediately what we saw from Ronald. We saw glimpses, but we didn't see him consistently terrifying defenses like we saw with Ronald. And then you got to look at some other attack plays for Potnick. And I know minutes wise hasn't been consistent, but the ability is clearly there. But we can't get a tune out of him because the striker never touches the ball. That there's still that thing going on. Whoever plays up there, Bianchini probably has the best of it out of all of them because he's actually decent in the air winning flick-ons and he can chase him behind and press. But the striker position is impossible to fill. And we talked about this before. Anyone who's tried that, we used to have a go at Jerry Yates. I think for me that's quite clearly the system more than anything now, and his confidence got shot as a result of it. I know he hasn't had, to my knowledge, an exceptional season for Derby, but he certainly had a better time there than he has here, playing for a team struggling in the league.
Yeah, I think it's all linked in here, the lack of being able to get the striker in and the three behind it and the stuff we've just spoken about as well. I don't know, and maybe that's the bigger game plan problem, and that's probably not going to go away while Luke Williams is there, is it? Let's be honest. Like, even if you can get any striker in, like, is that going to change? You just need someone that can operate with no ball.
Yeah.
But then who do you get in to do that job? Some stats before we move on to the next point, just to highlight this. So big chances created this season. Pete Harris is on 4, Ronald's on 10, is on 3. And then accurate crosses, I'm just going to talk about the percentage of their crosses that are accurate. It's quite interesting. Pete Harris is 22%, Ronald's on 16%, and is on 36%. So is that the order you thought they might have been? But they're all
16% accurate crosses.
Was there a single good
I would have said
there?
Ronald's the worst. I've always said whatever's good about Ronald, what isn't good is his end product. And I've said that and I've maintained that the entire time. And I still stick to that. And that's shooting and the final ball. That's his big issues for me. The other stuff's hot and cold.
That's his job as a winger, though, isn't it?
No, I know. But if we're having that as the conversation, I'm totally agreeing with you. I'm just talking about him on the pitch and running, I guess.
Yeah, it's odd as well because he plays week in, week out. Like, he never seems to get dropped or rested, Ronald. Like, he seems to play 90 minutes as well. It's just, I don't know. I'd like to see him perform. Like, I think, he could improve. Like, he could get better. But I think it's again, I think like sometimes he gets found out in games where he's been found out and he's not doing anything, but he never comes off.
His 6 assists is higher than his expected assists. His XA, if you like.
Oh, here we go.
4.91. So,
yeah, I don't know. But again, like I said, Ronald plays week in, week out, so you'd expect him to have more assists as well with the amount of ball. And like you said, a lot of them came at the beginning of the season.
What's the top assists for the championship at the moment? Like, what's the sort of numbers around that?
Could probably find out.
Yeah, I think Ben's on it. I'm just curious, like, where that lies in regards to like
10. So Ronald's joined 5th.
I mean, that's actually pretty decent, to be fair.
Yeah.
There's no one you want to hear.
Well, no, but again, like you can pull up a stat that suits everything, can't you? Like you can.
Well, I can't say Ji-sung's good at assisting. I can say Ronald is, though. He's got more than Perot for Leeds, for example. Same number of games played.
Who's ahead of him?
Ahead of Ronald, Doak at Borough, Rudoni at Coventry, brilliant for Coventry. Finn Azaz for Borough as well, and Tom Fellows, who scored against us for West Brom. That's the one I said he's going to come off the bench and get an assist, but he just scored instead.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about our current form. We kind of already touched on some issues there, but like the form then, it's not good, is it? So like we haven't talked about it. Obviously, we lost to Cardiff.
We made it 55
what was the last
minutes
podcast?
about talking
the draw
about
after West Brom?
I think so, yeah. I don't even know if we've talked about Southampton since... 12th of Jan, we must have, surely. Yeah, we previewed Cardiff. Yeah, so after the FA Cup game.
3-0 against Cardiff. Let's not say it too loud. 2-1 against Sheffield United. I'm not that like the home form was better, let's say. As much as that's a loss, that game was.
We clapped them off at the end, which for a home loss, that rarely ever happens. We knew the ref screwed us a little bit. We should have had 2 penalties. The red card. Some people will say it was a red card. I'm of the opinion it was a bad yellow, and what got him sent off was the Sheffield United players acting as if he just been
Ryan
killed.
Brewster.
Oh Christ!
He got straight up as soon as that card was shown.
You couldn't write it, could you? And he scores against us. He's been injured for like 2 of the last 3 years. I don't know when the last time he actually scored was before that game. You couldn't write it. You really couldn't. And he runs straight to the crowd celebrating, probably because he forgot what it felt like to celebrate a goal.
And 5-1 defeat to Norwich City as well. So the away form, bearing in mind before the Cardiff game, 3-0 at Southampton and 4-0 at Portsmouth, is tragic. Tragic. Home form, the draw at West Brom,
undeserved.
Draw against West Brom, which we didn't deserve. And I would argue we were the better team against Sheffield United. Didn't get a win or a draw. The referee had a massive part to play in that, to be fair. But ultimately still a defeat. It gives a bit more hope at home, but there's still 4 losses in 5 and the draw. When you can't even win when you're playing well at home, and you get absolutely thumped away, that's just not great, is it? What's going on?
Because you can even go back further, mind, and say even when we were playing well against QPR and Luton, the game before that was away to Hull, who were winless in 13, and that was a bad game as well. So this away form is even stretching back to when we were playing well at home just before New Year. I think you have to go back to Plymouth, where we won 2-1 for an away win now, which I can't even remember how we played in that game. I won't lie to you.
They nearly came back at the end, didn't they?
Yeah.
I think
we went ahead and we went 2-0 up, but then we decided we didn't want to win 2-0.
Yeah, we probably backed off to me, and then they scored, and then
same as Oxford, wasn't it?
Same as Oxford, yeah. It was just but there's a definite theme which we were touching on before, is us in the second half is just. Yeah, I honestly don't know what goes on in the second half, because the Cardiff game, obviously they scored right after half time, and so did Sheffield United. It's just, and then we just seem to fall apart.
The Cardiff game, though, the last 15-20 minutes of the first half, they started growing into it. And I was on lunch in work, and I'm glad that I only watched the first half. I went down, and the manager that works with me is a Cardiff fan. I was like, we're not winning this game, don't worry. He was like, I don't trust us to win. I was like, no, tell you now. You've grown into this game. If your manager's got any sense about you, he takes your team in and he says, look, you've just started coming at the Swans a bit. Do that more, because you can see they clearly can't deal with it. Or was it 2 minutes into the second half and they scored?
Yeah.
So I was like, I told you. I literally told you. It was like, just see it. The writing was on the wall. It was like, it's just one. As soon as Franco missed that chance, that was it. There was nothing else.
Yeah. I mean, what was the stat they said in that game as well? First half, Swansea, I don't know if it's still true now, but it was at the time. Swansea have scored the second highest number of goals in first half of championship games, and they've scored the lowest in the league in the second half of championship games. The excuse we were using at the start of the season, wasn't it? We don't have the quality to come off the bench and the subs never work. Now we're capitulating before we even get to the 60th minute where subs normally come on. It's a complete psychological thing at this point in time now, for me. It's also a thing of a one-dimensional. So when they go in at half-time, Luke Williams just has to say, carry on what you're doing. I believe in you, whatever you'll say. And then the opposition manager will actually just be finding us out. And as soon as you crack the code against us, we don't change the way we play to combat it. So we end up losing.
Yeah. This is a fun podcast. Yeah. I know I didn't watch the second half of the Cardiff game, and I haven't watched the highlights, and I'm not going to either. So anyone saying he doesn't even watch the games and he's talking about it, I don't want to watch it. I don't want to watch it.
Not missing much.
I had my phone going off every 2 minutes, and someone coming up to me every 2 minutes reminding me what happened. That's enough. I don't need that anymore. To be fair, we've had a couple of good years, and I've always had it the other way around. But it's not nice.
Look. Again, I just don't understand the absolute falling apart, because we conceded straight after half-time, which was a poor goal. I mean, the finishes were good, but poor defensively. The second goal, the Timon just back passes it to me, and Robinson is straight in on goal. 2-0 down, and the crowd are up, and it's a derby. And
I'm sure that's the second time he's done that this season.
But you've lost the game. Then when you go 2-0 down like that in quick succession straight after half time in a derby, like you're never going to turn that around.
Yeah,
No.
you saw everyone's heads drop. I think
Yeah.
it was quite clear Darling and Cabango weren't fully at it as well. That you have to play
Yeah.
them even if they were 50%. But I feel like
Yeah.
Darling, when that pass came back from Timon, a fully fit Darling is probably positioned where Timon passed the ball and you can get to it quicker. I know it sounds like a bit of a lame excuse, don't get me wrong, but if you look at the goal back, you'll see what I mean. Darling just looked
Yeah.
off, if that makes any sense at all. Obviously, even if he was fully fit, maybe Robinson still ends up scoring, I don't know. But to me, a fully fit centre-back partnership would have helped, but we still would have lost anyway. So it doesn't change much, does it?
They're only 3 points. Sorry, 3 points below us in the league now.
I'll stop worrying about where they are, pal. Give it 6 weeks.
No, I know. But that's what it is right now, isn't it? So I just like.
You can cling on to it a bit longer, but the way it's going,
it was going to be.
What if this galvanizes us and we just like
you know what? Just from
the Grimes thing.
Yeah.
Just from like a pure scientific point of view, I'm interested to see what Swansea City look like without Matt Grimes. And I know it's
going to be
not,
strange.
and I don't mean it in like, oh, this could go actually well. It's not going to go well. It's just how bad is it going to be? Because we don't know who's going to replace him, if anyone. We do well to get anyone in over the line, probably alone, but we do well to get anyone in who gets near his performance levels. So
you know what's going to happen though?
What?
If we do really well, or if we play okay, and we start.
I know what you're going to say.
It's going to be like, see, he wasn't never that. All them people are like, we only pass the sideways the backwards. I'm glad he's going.
I almost don't want us to do well because you're right.
I know.
I
don't know if I want to read that.
Because we'll know it'll be wrong. We know it will be wrong.
I know.
We could win.
Can't argue with that, can you?
I know we could win 10 in a row without him. It would still be wrong. This is what's so frustrating. But I guarantee you would be right. Even if we win one game, we could beat Coventry. We could lose the next 5, and they'll still say, "Oh, look how well we played against Coventry without him."
If we do beat Coventry, you know what's going to be all over social media. Like they can have him.
Did they? Because you did a Coventry podcast just like I did. We did different ones just before coming on here. Did they mention the 75-year voodoo to you?
Yes, they did.
They're all hung up on that.
And I didn't know about this. See, obviously, I imagine it was a thing last year and whatever. Is this 75 years they haven't beaten us when we're at home, or just the league?
No, it's in the league. Yeah,
they have home or away.
Yeah,
I think so.
That's
they beat us in the cup. They beat us in the cup in like the 80s. But not in the league.
No, it is home and away because it came up when we beat them earlier this year, wasn't it? Because I think like they were doing quite well at that point and we were not playing very well. So
that was
it was
another game where we went 2-0 up and decided didn't want to anymore.
Yeah, Ronald scored an own goal.
What they?
That one is fault, to be fair. That's
no,
harsh.
I know.
What are they on about 75 years though? Because I'm reading here we lost against them 3-1 away in the league in October 1981, and I realise this is all just. This is a silly stat anyway.
Or maybe it is away then. Maybe it's at our ground.
Maybe it says league in 1981. But yeah, it's been decades since they've beaten us anyway, right? So yeah, it's a lot on the line. They were quite hyped about it, to be honest. Like they were tentative to predict themselves to win because of this like curse they think that's on them against the Swans. But they've nicked our best player. Maybe this is it. They don't even care about Grimes. They've just nicked him just before they play us, just so they can find.
Yeah, they can beat us.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd take a draw now.
Yeah, same.
I mean, I won't ruin my prediction, but I definitely
I forgot we have to predict things.
Yeah, I did definitely.
Sorry for the language.
Draw by that way. It's fine. You'll enjoy the predictions today, Luke.
I don't want to talk anymore about Cardiff.
Now.
We know that was a shambles. They've actually made signings as well. Sheffield United was the last home game. Do we think we're going to see a similar performance to that? Like, I mean, Norwich away, like. Another second half capitulation. We even got ourselves back on terms.
We were playing well.
What happened?
Well,
like what happened? What happened in that game?
Did you watch it?
No, I was working again.
No,
I just happened to line my shifts up with the Swans games at the moment because it seems less depressing.
Yeah, so I watched it. First half, it was similar to Cardiff. We didn't play particularly bad. We didn't play particularly well. The same could be said for Norwich. There were unforced errors from both sides galore. The goal obviously came from Norwich just before half time. Sargent is a class above, is what I will say. So, if anyone was going to do something, it would be him. I think some EFL pundits have even said he's a mid-table team without him, and they're a good playoff team with him, and it just so happened this was his first game back. Of course, it was. So he did well. He took his goal well. It was poor defending for I think the first goal.
Yeah, the first goal, he's like in acres of space. Like I don't even know how it happens, but
we all got attracted to the ball.
Yeah.
Is it Decra? I don't know how you pronounce his name. Sorry. This loan signer from Burnley. I think he ended up ball watching and he got left free. Brilliant assist. I'm not saying good vision, but shouldn't have been in that much acres of space.
We only mentioned him either.
Yeah.
Right on half time was criminal.
Yeah.
Like,
But yeah, Cullen scored second half. It was a decent enough move. And it was when my brother came down. He didn't know a game was on. I said, I'll rewind it for you. I'll show you the goal. Saw the goal. Yeah, that was good. I played it back forwards, and we were 2-1 down. It was literally 45 seconds later. We conceded.
Yeah,
we were quite good in the first half by all accounts, weren't we?
I wouldn't say good, just not bad. Better than I expected us to be. But yeah, out of the 5 goals, 2 were direct errors from Josh Key, 2 were direct errors from Ducra, however you say his name again, apologies. I forget the 5th goal. At that point, it's trivial, isn't it, when you're conceding 5?
Key going into midfield last few games, even against Sheffield United now, because I went to that. I actually watched that game. I went to that game. He's losing the ball. He's just running out from his right back position in the most stupid places a lot of the time and just running into trouble. But he's doing it all the time, at least once or twice a game.
Like, I can understand it when it was somewhat working. At this point, we're conceding so many goals directly from our fullbacks doing it. Not so much Timon, but Key. The amount of times he's dispossessed.
Timon just passes it to them.
Yeah. Look, they have both been quite poor in this run, like in particular. But do we think they're just like gassed?
Well, Key's not gassed, is he? He's running
pass it then.
One end of the pitch to the other, and he's just running into.
No, but they
just stop running with the ball.
No, but they haven't had a rest, have they? Same with Darlin and Cabango. Like they just look.
Key has.
They just had a couple of weeks off being injured. That's no excuse.
No, but I'm just like I'm not excusing them. They've been awful, but I'm saying like we have no other option.
No, I think I would argue more Darlin and Cabango being gassed, but Key and Timon get rotated.
Yeah, Key especially with Norton.
I'm not saying that you could argue the rotation option isn't as good, but I think they get rotated more than fullbacks normally have for us in the past.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. It may be that they get to play an hour instead of 90 minutes and whatever, but our defenders don't normally get rotated too much. I think Key has played in every game this season, but there's quite a few 63, 65, 78, 29.
Seasons was 28. Rangel the only fullback we used on the right. Do you know what I mean? O'Connor Roberts, he didn't used to get dropped. So why is it an issue now?
No, I'm not excusing them.
I know that, but I'm just saying it shouldn't be a problem.
I'm not excusing them. They've been awful. Like the pair of them, especially in that Norwich game, it was just ridiculous. But I don't know. Maybe, like you said, with Key going like into midfield, like attacking wise, we probably need them, but they like leave so much space in behind and make so many mistakes.
Don't mind them doing it, but just know when you need to release the ball.
You can and what I mean is when they're gassed is because we have the ball, normally our games go that we're pushing in the first half, we're doing well, we're getting forward. Timon and Key are bombing on, Key's going into midfield, they're just pummeling down the wings, and then you can run the clock by 60 minutes. The fullbacks again in behind. What game was it? I think it was the Sunderland game was the best one because we were brilliant, and then we were just broken down, and they were just getting in behind the fullbacks. And
that's fair. I think during a match, they clearly get tired towards the end, and it's evident from I think Timon especially.
Oh yeah, so much goes down that 90
minutes.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you from that perspective. And that might be to do with what he's been asked. But then that's us. We need to get someone in that can do that job off the bench then, don't we? Spanner in the works with the Grimes situation, I guess. But yeah, that's what we need. Key, I just think ever since Luke Williams kind of alluded to him, the comparisons with Gareth Bale, it just... do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean... I'm not going to blame Luke Williams for that one.
I'm not blaming him for it. It's just
he was playing well at the time. He was having a bit of a purple patch, wasn't he?
He's asking him to do something, and I just it's fine if he wants to do it when it works, but he needs to understand a little bit more about when it's too much.
I know, but sometimes I think it is too much, definitely. And again, I'm excusing it. I'm just trying to find reasons because he just pops up in midfield all the time. I don't know whether it's to create space for the winger on the right, whether it's Ronald or Pete Harris, whoever's on the wing. I don't know. There's got to be a method to the madness, but it can't happen as often as it does.
The one that with Key that I got issue with is Sheffield United. That was on the edge of the box. We kind of ran in a circle around the Sheffield guy, and then started cutting infield on the edge of the box into someone, and then they had a shot, and it got saved luckily. But
yeah, it just needs.
He's
to
obviously
stop.
there like sorry, and it's like, mate, they nearly scored. Like sorry's not cutting it if that goes in.
Yeah,
it was just stupid.
It does
it
need
was
to stop.
stupid.
It does need to stop.
Anyway, so going into Coventry then, and then we look at our predictions. I guess. What do you think in terms of the? So we've got Harry Darling's not going to be there. I can't say what's the fella's name that we signed?
Ducroix. I'm really struggling with that name.
What do you think from his debut? Are we comfortable with that, or like is it just may as well use Christie or Norton? Like
it's hard to say. I feel like he was chucked straight in. So maybe we've got to give him.
Yeah,
Delcroix. I mean, we've got to give him a bit of a benefit of the doubt because he was chucked straight in.
You want to get a bit of form back in. I would say Norton's a steady pair of hands, and he can get something in the second half.
No, I would say you got to play Delcroix because they're not being funny. What's the point in having him? How is he going to feel if he's been brought in? He's the only one of only 2 fit centre.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
And don't be wrong, he on the ball, I thought he was okay. Left-footed option as well.
I
think what Lee said about being chucked straight in it goes further than that because we signed him. He was driving up and down the country when he came from Burnley, came down for the medical, was straight back up then to not up across to Norwich. Yeah, it's a lot of travel there, isn't it? So home game, not great circumstances in terms of Grimes leaving. I feel for him a bit. Normally the centre back.
He's probably one of the 3 that said goodbye to Grimes, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, normally our centre backs are told just pass to Grimes, he'll be there next year or in between you. He'll do it for you in terms of distribution or building through the thirds or whatever. Now he's actually going to have to try and pick a pass himself. So be interesting.
He was probably like you said, he's done all that travelling and he's thrown straight into a new team who he's barely trained with. And he did look all right on the ball, and then he did make mistakes defensively, which. All right, you get them all out of the way now, in there where you've lost 5-1. Just get them out of the way. But he must have been looking at the fullbacks, going, "What the hell are they doing?"
Yeah,
he must have been. What are they doing next to me?
He'd had like 1 training session, if that, hadn't he? So
it's like nobody prepared me for this.
Yeah, he's looking to the right, and it's like, "There's no one there." Hang on, he's up there.
Midfield.
And then he looks to the left, and Grimes standing next to him.
Yeah, so, we got to laugh.
It's going to be Delcroix, but apologies, I'm probably still butchering his name, and I know for a fact I butchered his name multiple times earlier. Probably
next question
in midfield, wouldn't it?
No, that was the next question. Do you think Felton? I think Alan comes in.
It depends how fit he is. Alan, he can just be injured and you don't know about it.
Yeah.
I think
it is Felton. Felton and Franco, like
2 peas in the pod there. I think Franco's just a better Felton, isn't he? Like they're very similar in like how they.
I think if fit Allen comes in though, doesn't he? I think he plays Joe Allen, just as a safety net. I think, and then brings Fulton on afterwards.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. No, he wasn't. Allen wasn't on the bench against Norwich.
Was he not? Oh,
no.
Great.
I'm trying to think who else you even do. The only like wild card you could do is if not even playing anyways, you could stick in a cam. I don't know, just try something.
Yeah, but he said Ollie Cooper's coming back to fitness as well, isn't he? Obviously,
I think Cooper goes there when he's fit. Yeah, I think if we don't,
as the pivot.
Let me rephrase. If as the current squad is right now, if we didn't bring anyone in, if all worst case scenario, we can't get a deal over the line, I do think Ollie Cooper goes there when he's fit. He has done it before, and he does it for Wales.
He does do it for Wales, but does he do it for Wales in games where they actually need win? I don't know. I
think he was starting in the.
Was it Iceland? I think is the only one I can think of. But
he did really well. But
with Harry
what's
Wilson
your option? Felton and Franco, or Cooper and Franco, and Allen sometimes. They're still the same option. So if we didn't sign anyone in that scenario, I do think you've got to gamble, haven't you?
I think respect on Felton's name at this point, to be honest. I know he's not. I'm not disrespecting him. I just don't know if it works in.
I just don't know if it works in. I 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 don't know if it works
It's going to be
about
different, isn't it? It's going to be
It's about
different.
getting by until we find a permanent solution. Jay Fulton, love him or hate him, he's been here longer than Grimes, has he not? He's been here
Yeah, a year longer. I just don't know, like,
He's
can he
been
distribute
in
it?
every single Swansea team, and it is frustrating. I'm not saying I still like him though. I still think he's adaptable to every system he's been in. He's got by. You know, his best was probably Cooper's. That was probably the most suitable system for him. But even Russell Martin, he wasn't loved,
He was
but
good
he
under
got
Potter as well.
by. You know, yeah. So for me, I think this is a time where Fulton has a chance to step up and prove his worth again, and hopefully he does. I don't think it's a long-term solution. Don't get me wrong, but him and Franco, they got to learn to play together, because that's, for me, Allen's not going to be fit. Whoever we bring in is probably going to be a loan, and that could just go poorly, as most loans do. So Fulton's going to be key for us now.
I don't disagree. I'd be quite happy with him playing more. I'm just curious. I just don't know if I see either him, like Felton or Franco, as a Grimes job person. Do you reckon Franco could do it and Felton does Franco's job instead? Like
No.
Franco drops back, or which one is receiving the ball?
I think we need to ditch this drop back thing now.
Yeah.
Do you
I
think
think
he's
so.
going to do that? Like, he's not going to do that
But
straight away.
neither
is
of
he?
them are going to do that instinctively, are they? Like they will if they're told. Like maybe one of them will go back at a time. It probably won't be the same one, but instinctively they probably won't do that.
Oh, here's
Because
another
having played,
left one, left field. Carl Norton.
Oh, in midfield.
Yeah.
Potter did it.
just to sit in
We
front
also
of the.
had like
Yeah.
Leroy Fer next to him though, so I don't know.
Not a bad idea. I was thinking though, like when under Potter, like Grimes, it was Potter, wasn't it? Grimes was playing left back quite a lot.
Yeah, when he started the season.
So
on
who
left
was
back.
it? Norton that was consistently playing in that role. I can't
Right
really
back.
remember. No, but obviously we were playing without Grimes in that role at that time because he was playing left back. So who was?
No, it was Tom Carroll, wasn't it?
We had Carroll.
Yeah, Tom
we had
Carroll was there.
Fer,
Yeah, yeah.
It was
I
Carroll,
suppose-
Fer, and
Fulton.
well, that was it because we had Selena then.
So if you
Yeah.
remember his very first game against Sheffield United, against Wilder's promotion season or whatever, Selena started CDM. That was when Grimes came on at left back, I think, off the bench. That's before he came into the team.
I thought did he not
Then-
start?
No, Grimes I think came on as a sub in that game. He did
on the
start.
team.
Yeah, he started not long after. Don't get me wrong. Eventually, Grimes.
Olsen started.
Yeah, but he got injured then, didn't he? So I think we saw Cameron Carter-Vickers at left back from time to time. No, boys, we said we weren't going to do this tangent thing. We got too much.
Okay, let me just finish. The team it was
Yeah, you're
Felton and Carroll that started in the CDMs.
Yeah, I guess we were trying to say like who's gonna play that role, and I think we'll have to. I think the question is, I think we're going to change. I think we're going to have to change the way we play. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to look different.
I just don't know if he'll do it this week though.
Is there even anyone from the youth academy who, not necessarily this
Ben
weekend?
Lloyd?
He's too attacking for it, I think, and I think anyway.
It's going to have to be different, I think. But I guess we've been saying this for years. I've been saying it for a long time. I think that you can make a case that it doesn't work anyway.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Grimes dropping in is that you can say 97% of the time he's going to keep the ball. With Franco, and especially if Fulton did it, you can't say that. So you may as well just keep them in midfield.
I just realised Pete Harris can play 8. That's his position. So maybe we see this. Maybe we see this weekend. He goes there, and we have and Ronald.
Maybe he does wind me up in terms of I don't know if it's just the way he runs or what, but he just seems to do everything at a slower pace. So I just can't picture him as an 8 because you got to be quite dynamic. I know he'd have Franco next to him. It remains to be seen. That's probably the most likely one, if we're being honest, isn't it? If not, for me, it's just going to be Fulton and Franco with
because obviously Giannelli's back now, really, isn't he? So if we lose in Pete Harris from an option on the wing, then you gain in Giannelli as an option on the wing. So all right, well we'll see. There's 2 protections then.
Right. Okay. I'll share my screen in a second.
Have we missed anything that we didn't talk about? Harry Darling, maybe.
Welsh Cup, if we could do that in a second. Welsh Cup isn't happening, guys. Let's just add on the bad news. FA said it's financially unfair, gives us an unfair advantage because
everything we said that we would. What would the perks actually be? They listened to what we said and said, Oh yeah, so you're not doing it.
Yeah. Apologies. Our New Year's resolution of don't miss predictions already over. We missed Norwich. I don't think any of us were going 5-1. I think we were all going to predict Norwich
We
to
might
win
have
anyway.
predicted losses, but it would be no different. That's all at the
Yeah,
same point.
points would have balanced out.
Yeah.
So let's have a look. I forget.
It's only
who's where.
Coventry we need to do then.
Lee got the result right against Cardiff. Nearly had the scoreline, but no, it was 3-0. Myself and Lee both got that one wrong. Luke.
Yeah, because he wasn't on the podcast to come on you and say we were going to lose. That's why he didn't come on. That's what we said
right.
at the time.
He was right. You can't knock him. He was right.
I knew we were going to lose that game.
I got the result right against Sheffield United, so did Lee, but Luke got the correct score. So crucially, if I go up, yeah, Luke, you are now in the lead for the first time all season. We have a new leader, and you know what? This is my own fault. This is my own fault because I brought in this crappy new rule upon New Year of everyone has to have a different scoreline. I wanted to go 2-1 in this game. I couldn't go 2-1 in this game. I would be winning right now if it wasn't my own rule. But crucially now, Luke, you are now going last.
I had so much stick the last few weeks, guys. This is a big moment for the
podcast. How am I so far behind?
Well,
typically not
can we
very
go back?
good
Can we go back to like the first 5 games and rewatch some of the things you were saying to me? Can we revisit that?
We can do a special if you want.
Yeah,
looking back at the roasts on Luke.
Look at the turnaround. I said it was a long season. I was very close a lot of times early the season while I was gathering my thoughts on how we were doing. Now I've got some, knowledge. I've got some history there for this year. I've started performing.
Yeah, I've fallen off a cliff is the truth of it. I haven't had a correct score line since, who's that? Burnley? Yeah, Burnley, and that was a last-minute crappy penalty as well. So yeah, I've had a torrid second half of the season. I think it's fair to say, and it's finally caught up with me. But I get to, go second today. Lee, you're still going first. So Coventry home, what are you going for?
Well, we've lost the last 3, and Coventry won the last 3.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got to be a Swans win, isn't it?
If it was the other way around, probably, but
I'm going to have to throw a bit of caution in here because I'm miles behind, but I'm going to go. Do you know what? I'm going to go 2-1 Swans.
2-1 Swans.
Got to take risks, haven't you, at this stage?
I got to take risks, and I think that it might galvanise us. I think we might
2
play
goals,
well.
is it?
Oh, well, that's not happening, is it?
Right, I'm going 3-0 Coventry.
2-1 Coventry.
Right, there we are. Is that the first time I predicted? And yeah, see, I'm quite cautious normally. If you look at all my score lines, 2-1, 1-0, 2-0, 2-0, 1-0.
Yeah,
they're all low
the
scoring.
first half of the season, we only lost by there was always 1 goal margin. So
and then I've only gone 3-0 twice. The other one was Hull when I thought, they haven't won in 13 games or whatever. We'll batter these, and we lost. And we lost that one 2-1. So if that's anything to go by, Lee, you're gonna pick up a result here.
Who got 2-1 right on the Hull? Was that everyone saying Swans win?
No, everyone said Swans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Bristol away. Bristol City away. Sorry, I should say.
It's next weekend.
Yeah,
so we can do that
next Sunday.
week.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that was an hour 23 and counting of pure misery. No point.
Yeah, right. Go on, you can open
up
up on the Welsh Cup because after I heard the FA rejected it, I just didn't want to read it. So
yeah, let's end on another low. Yeah, English FA rejected it. I think the main reasons were what was cited before. Rumours that was swirling about why it would get rejected. One of them was it dampens the prestigiousness of the tournaments if Welsh teams don't get to Europe by winning it, which is just stupid and not being funny. I think it's like 5 or 6 teams have won either competition in the last decade or more. So yeah. The other one was, I think this was the more pressing one, to be honest, even though we would share out the proposed funding, like the £3 million a year from whoever gets there. You can still get more money if you stay in there longer, the competition. You can get more money from sponsors. You can become more appealing to potential signings, which can't be denied, let's be honest, because you'd be a championship team in Europe. It would be silly. And even though we made a commitment that we wouldn't put any extra money towards financial fair play, basically the way financial fair play works, it prohibits you from spending too much on transfers and wages, but stadium improvements or youth academy, for example, FFP doesn't cover that. So it was still seen as potentially, unfair. The other one was Europa Conference League games would be on a
That's ridiculous.
Thursday. Yeah, the last one was Europa Conference League games would be on a Thursday, and there's obviously plenty of Championship games which are on a Tuesday and Wednesday and are normally run alongside Champions League games. So it's like, how would they fit that in the schedule? So they were the reasons. And in terms of like, will this ever come up again? It doesn't seem like there's anything in the near future. So I think that's just, it's done and dusted now, unfortunately. So
that one about the money really irks me. It's like, okay, you won't contribute to the financial fair play side of it, but no, you're not spending more money on your stadium and your youth academy. Like, you're not going to make your club better. Like, that's just ridiculous. Like, that's just stupid.
Yeah, so it's one of those ones now where all the English fans were saying, go play in the Welsh leagues then. Well, no, because when the Welsh league started, we were already in the English leagues. That was the reason we joined, because the Welsh leagues didn't exist. And we're well past the point where that's possible now, because you just have basically a liquidation of a football club when you'd have mass redundancies. None of the player contracts could be viable. You're just talking common sense, really. And it's a football club running on tens of millions a year. And look how much of a difference this £3 million a year spread across the entire Welsh pyramid would have made. It goes to show the gulf in finances between the English pyramid and the Welsh pyramid. This would have barely put a drop in the ocean financially in terms of closing that gap, but it would have been something. Of course, we're not allowed nice things, so there we are. End of. Let's just focus on staying in the.
They had every single club in the 72 in their year, didn't they? That's what they had, and
yeah,
they just like. Yeah.
The only main point I can understand is, whereas there's midweek games in the Premier League, there's less of them, so they work around the European schedule, whereas the EFL midweek fixtures run alongside it at the same time. So it's like, how that would have worked, I don't know. We would have been playing in the Conference League on a Thursday 6 times minimum, and then the midweek games on a Tuesday, Wednesday probably would have had to be moved to a Monday. But then if you move in that to a Monday, what would have happened to the weekend games? So it would have been a mess. It would have.
They just got to postpone games, didn't they? Like, they could have made it work if they wanted to, but
we would have just have to have been happy playing 3 games or 4 games in a space of like 8 days consistently, which, it wouldn't have ended well, but it would have been fun. But there we are. It is what it is. It's just move on with it now, isn't it?
Yeah. There we go. Whatever. Should we end it there then? Is there anything else we missed?
Probably, but it's probably just more bad news, isn't it? So
I was going to say, other than all that, it's all good.
Maybe we'll try and get one early-ish next week. If deadline day is Monday, I know you're normally tied up a 5-a-side, aren't you? So
yeah,
maybe Tuesday or something. Not promising, but we'll try and aim for early next week.
Yeah,
I'll see what actually has happened by the time this goes live and the transfer window closes in the next few days, because at the moment I'm none the wiser. So
imagine the Grimes move fails now that Cabango's captain, which we didn't touch on, to be fair.
Oh yeah.
He was the obvious choice, when he.
Well, you're not going to give it to Darling. He's gone in the summer. Norton and Allen you would give it to, but they get about 30 minutes a month on the pitch. So yeah, Cabango just signed a new deal. Young, passionate, probably more aggressive on the pitch, which a lot of fans want to see from captain. That's like the one thing people criticize Grimes for in the captaincy role, is that he doesn't give him enough like aggressiveness, I suppose.
And he just signed a new contract as well, so maybe it's a bit of a like.
Obviously,
maybe he knew he was next in line if that ever happened, but.
Maybe. I think it just makes him feel a bit better about the fact he signed on 3 weeks ago. Now Grimes is gone. As if you said in the group chat we have, as if he'd sign if it was still.
I don't think. Yeah, if he didn't sign, if we were still trying to get him to sign now, I just don't know if he would.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. No, I wouldn't sign now, and I think we can kiss goodbye, Darling. Signing if there was any chance of it happening. That's my opinion.
So do we sell him now, or do we wait till the summer?
No, you can't sell him now, because we'd go down. We just would go down. We may be going down anyway, but we'd certainly go down if we lost Grimes and Darling. You're not replacing them, so.
But maybe Cabango wasn't one of the 3 that said goodbye to Grimes.
Yeah, he's happy.
So
he's
maybe he would
now.
have signed.
Yeah, try mate.
Who do you think would be the 3?
Armband.
That's a question.
I'd say Allen.
Because he'd be too professional.
Yeah, I'd say Allen.
Maybe Norton as well. I think because from what I know of Norton from family that know him, he is very laid back, and he's like really just takes it as just he's comfortable now. He's here with his family. He doesn't want no fuss. Doesn't want no issue. Like he wants to see his time out of Swansea until he's not playing anymore, and then hopefully, I think get some sort of role and stay here. That's what he wants. So I feel like he probably would have enough about him to say goodbye.
They're more likely to be people who have been here longer and know him longer. So
I was
Fulton,
thinking maybe Fulton.
So
I was
Fulton,
thinking
Northern
maybe
Ireland.
I was thinking maybe Ronald, because if his English is not that good, he probably didn't realise what was going on.
He can't speak English. So on the other day tonight, he genuinely doesn't. Well, unless he was like playing on it a bit, but he had a translator. So
That is mad to think, though. If that is true, and only 3 players said goodbye to him, I would maybe think, yeah, Fulton, because they've been at the club almost the
pretty
same
much
amount
same
of time
time.
as they, like
Same as
10
Norton,
years,
though. I think
so.
Norton signed the year after Grimes.
Yeah, or it could just be a
Well,
load of rubbish to try and galvanise the fan base in what's a difficult situation and galvanise.
I've seen it reported a few places. Wales Online mentioned it earlier. So
yeah, I've seen loads of things that said it just really hasn't gone down well.
yeah, and so I think that's a good selection of 3 because a lot of the others are either recent or young. There's not many long-term players there.
Yeah.
They are the 3. Alan is, I think, historic in terms of like he was here before when he came back. I think he'd be level-headed and professional enough to sort of he didn't do the same way, but he left, didn't he, when he went on to bigger things. So maybe he's got a bit of empathy for the situation. And I think Fulton and Norton probably.
Or maybe the other way around. If it is that bad and they are that upset, maybe the ones that have been there a bit longer are more annoyed.
Imagine how he feels though, Grimes. Like I'm not saying I'm happy with him either, but imagine being somewhere for 10 years, and obviously I'm sure all the staff said goodbye to him, but only 3 of your teammates saying goodbye to you. Like that's mental.
I just want. There just has to have been something that's caused that reaction.
I bet there's been lots of false promises that maybe Grimes has broken as well. Like obviously you say a lot of things as a captain.
Or maybe he's the one on the end of them and he's like, do you know what? I've given everything and I've just been shafted a lot, so I'm gonna go.
You can guarantee he would have like persuaded Cabango to sign on though. You get what I mean?
Well, I did hear he was quite a big part of that.
Yeah. And he probably was in Darling's ear a lot, even though he hasn't signed. Cullen signed on earlier this season, and I think he was out of contract at the end of the year. Is there one more I'm forgetting as well? I can't quite remember, but I feel like there might have been maybe a more minor one.
Sam Parker?
Yeah, he just signed on. So, you know what I mean? And obviously it's a captain's job to keep a team together. What would we want him to do? Say, oh no, I may be off in January, so no, don't sign me. Like that was never going to happen, was it? But people still have feelings, I suppose, and they clearly feel let down, as I'm sure everyone.
I'll tell you what happened. Does. Grimes has been watching The Traitors, and he just decided to just
I don't fancy being faithful anymore.
Yeah.
I'm off.
That's it. He just got voted at the round table. He stood up there and was like, I'm a traitor. And then that's how it went down.
Yeah, that was a letdown of finale, just like this has been a letdown of the last 2 days of a window.
I just don't know. I felt sorry for Alexander.
I was happy that Jake won.
Spoiler alert, anyone listening.
I was happy.
Watched it by now.
I was happy that Jake won, but I was gutted for Alexander.
I just find the format stupid. Like there's 4 of them left. It's in all of their best interest to keep voting people out, regardless of whether.
Yeah, I was going to say they've
traitor left. So
they've got to go down to 2.
Nobody can say, "Oh, let's just start with 3 people," because then you just look like a traitor.
But they did in the first series.
Yeah, that's stupid. Let's be real. You're
it's because the guy basically gave it away, didn't he? He basically gave it away when he got voted out. I do think when you get to the last episode, maybe they should. I don't know what the solution is. They'd have to try different things, but like if they said, right, you've got rid of them all now, or if you
the solution is you say you have to get down to 3 people. You know the number of people you're getting down to. There could be 2 traitors left, 1, 0. You got to end on 3.
Yeah.
We got to end on 2. We got to end on 4. Whatever, pick the number. Because if you do the current format, you're always going to end up with 2 people, regardless.
Yeah, because I'd never seen the previous series, but I watched all this one, and when I saw the bit at the end with the 4 of them, I was like, well, they've got to go down to 2, because why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You need to watch season 2 if you haven't already.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that to me actually. because that was the first one I watched. People said watch season 2. So
I think
maybe
season
will.
2 is the best one, personally.
Shall I watch that instead of the game on Saturday?
Yeah. So yeah, it's good. Really, the ending was really good. The season 2, actually, some good twists along the way.
I haven't even
Sorry, go on. No, I was going to change the subject.
I was going to say I haven't even watched this season. I just know what happened in this finale. I've already had the first 2 ruined for me now, so like I don't really see the point. But yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Like I haven't seen the first 2 at all. I haven't seen
You've got to see the
spoilers,
journey. It's all well and good seeing the end, but you've got to see the journey. It's good.
Right, fair enough.
Speaking of that, though, going back to traitors, what actually happens? I know it's unlikely, but what if Grimes plays on Saturday?
I genuinely
don't know.
we'll
To
take
be
it
honest,
turns on him.
I said on the podcast that I was just on. I'm glad I'm not there this weekend.
I just think it would be absolute theatre if he does, though. I think.
I don't think he will.
They probably get a penalty and he probably scores it.
I think based off what I just got told by the Coventry guys I was speaking to, it's like pretty highly likely not going to happen. But I think if it does happen, he'll get a bad reception. He'll play fine because he always plays fine, and I think we'll just take in turns leaving them in on him. We'll probably get like 7 yellow cards. I think somebody ends up 2-footing him probably. Honestly, I know we're not like that, but genuinely, you can't tell me 3 of them didn't say goodbye to him and they're not going to take it out on him on the pitch. They would. That's why he's not playing. He knows that, perfect injury-free record of his would just go in a day.
Part of me would love to see it.
Yeah.
I don't think it will happen. I think because of like the way it's happened and like obviously him being here for so long, I think like surely maybe even the Swans will be like, yeah, you can have him, but he can't play Saturday.
It won't happen this weekend, but it'll happen at some point if we stay up on it. Like the dust will settle and it won't be so fresh, but there's going to come a time where he plays against us.
It's because it's so fresh. Like I think, but that would just be. I would love for it to happen. Just I want to see it. It would be amazing.
Apparently, there's a gentleman's agreement for this weekend. Whether that's pushed by the club or him, I think both probably. He probably doesn't want to play this game.
I wouldn't want to. Like I said, I'd be scared for my safety. I honestly would.
Stuff it. I'd be like, if I was, this is the reason why I'm not in charge of anything of a club or a manager or anything. But do you know what? I would be like, oh, you want to go? All right, go and play Saturday. Why aren't you playing for your new club? You wanted to sign for them. That they're playing Saturday. Why aren't you playing?
This is definitely getting clipped for TikTok.
Add in his contract. You have to play 90 minutes on the weekend.
I'd be all for it. I'd be like, yeah, let him play. Go on.
Who would snap him? Who would snap him?
Franco.
Cullen.
Fulton's known him too long. Franco's known him 6 months. He'd be getting 2-footed. Elbowed, maybe.
Cabango.
Cabango wouldn't get near him.
This is my town now.
Yeah,
I think Cullen, because if Cullen's playing 10, he'd be in that area.
Yeah. If Cabango went up for an attacking set piece, he would just not actually try and win the header. He would just sort of like set on him.
If everyone's listening, as they obviously normally do, like if Frank Lampard's listening, like he normally does. Hi, Frank. Hope you're enjoying again. Can you please play Grimes on Saturday, just for the sake of football?
We are joking, by the way. We don't actually want Grimes to have his career ended, but I think
no.
for all parties that this doesn't.
It would just be not inciting violence or anything. I just want to see what would happen. It's just like this once in a lifetime.
I think it's going to be a statement when it gets announced, like thank you to the fans. Like
I think it'll be shorter than we're expecting. I don't think it'll be like blunt one line. Grimes has gone to Coventry and that's it. But
no, I mean from Grimes now. Like you do a little post on Instagram or something.
Yeah, he probably will. I think the one from the Swans, though, whereas when Grimes leaves, you normally think, player of that length of experience and ability and commitment, there'd be like a whole 10-minute video recounting his time at the Swans, probably. Yeah. I think genuinely it'll be, he joined on this date, he played this many times, he was captain for this many games, we thank him for his service, and that's it. And it'll feel like just a regular transfer. But
they definitely, but again, it definitely shows they didn't see it going again off on a tangent. But like it was only just before the Cardiff game, they did a piece on him, didn't they, saying like that he'd like won 7 derbies or something, wasn't it? There was like a whole thing, and that's 2 weeks ago. So it's like, they definitely didn't see it coming. And I had a look out of interest, which is not normally my thing, but I went back to Grimes' Instagram, and his last post was the West Brom game where he said, good draw in the circumstances.
Yeah.
And that was the last thing that he posted.
What if them circumstances were the final straw? But anyway, on that note, we'll call it there. been a long one again, but there was a lot to talk about. Hopefully next week's will be shorter because there's only going to be a few days away, maybe. But thanks for coming on again, Lee and Ben. I know it's been a bit of a miserable one. Sorry if you're still here at this point. You've just listened to us moaning for the last hour and 40 minutes. Like, fair play. I think you deserve, or we deserve, to have a subscribe or like or whatever at the end of that. But moan with us in the comments as well. Just moan, get it all out. Everyone's a bit annoyed and upset and frustrated at the moment. So tell us all of the feelings, and then we'll reply with more feelings. But yeah, hopefully next week could be a bit more positive if we do get some faces in through the door, and maybe we can start looking forward to what the next era of Swansea's, I guess. It feels like an end of an era, doesn't it, with Grimes not being in the centre of the midfield. So let's see what it looks like now that that's not going to be the case. Yeah. But on that note, see you later. Have a good one.
In a bit.
See you soon.